The other good news for the Lakers is, if I could be completely honest about Luka so far, as a Laker, he really hasn't been that good. I mean, I'm looking here, and I like doing this because I think this kind of tells a little bit of a story. Since Luka Doncic has been traded to the Lakers, and I didn't think he was good last night either, and he actually had quotes basically saying that he has not been good, certainly at crypto yet. Here's Luka so far since he's been a Laker. His first game against the Jazz, remember they played Utah back-to-back. 14 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Guys, these are Rui numbers. These are not Luka numbers, okay? Then the game against Charlotte where the Lakers lost. 14 points, had 11 rebounds, had 8 assists. The one game where he was excellent, and he was just Luka. It's not like he did anything special. He was just the first time he was Luka as a Laker. 32, 10, and 7. I thought the game against Dallas, he shot really poorly from the field, 6 of 17 from the field, 1 of 7 from the three-point line. Last night, 1 of 9 from the three-point line, 6 of 20 from the field, so he's been super inefficient. Now, he's still going to get you rebounds and assists. He got 15 rebounds in the game against Dallas, 13 rebounds in the game against Minnesota, 10 rebounds in the game against Dallas, 11 rebounds in the game against Charlotte. Like, that's just kind of what the guy does. And then assists, only 5 yesterday, but for the most part, he's about 8 assists a game, 9 assists a game, so between 7 and 9 a game so far for the Lakers. The reason why I share all this with you is eventually Luka's going to be Luka. He is. Luka's not going to keep shooting 30% from the field and 15% from the three-point line or 20% from the three-point line. He had a couple quotes yesterday. I want to read off a couple of his quotes that he mentioned yesterday. And again, I actually think if you were telling me Luka was balling out and Lakers were barely beating Minnesota and Dallas, I'd be like, all right, well, that's not good. Okay, well, he's not playing well. And, obviously he's playing – he's not playing well and the Lakers are still winning games. Let me read a couple quotes here. Luka said last night, he says, it's crazy. I can't make a normal shot, and I make that shot. He's talking about that fadeaway that he had. Just at this point, who I am – but I got to work on the easy shots, got to knock them down. I'm playing horrible, so I got to get back to it. That was with Mike Trudell right after the game. And then in the post game, in the locker room, he had said something that he has not had. I think he was talking about the support he's getting in LA. He's like, I haven't even had a good game here yet in LA. I haven't showed them. But he was being brutally honest about his game. So I just kind of set that up. I think there's a couple different ways to look at the Lakers right now. And like I said, one way to look at them is they have not performed the way you think they can perform. I think there's still a lot of opportunity for the Lakers to get better. And a lot of that's going to be riding on Luka's shoulders. When Luka has a Luka game, you could go on the road and beat Denver. But fortunately for the Lakers, there's been a lot of games they're supposed to win so far. You had 2 against Utah. You had the game against Portland, Lakers won, Luka didn't play. Okay, those aren't good teams. You had Dallas without Anthony Davis, without Gafford, without Lively. You had Minnesota without Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle, and Anthony Edwards only played X amount of minutes. I don't want to look right now, but obviously he gets thrown out in the third quarter. The point I'm trying to make is as the competition gets better, as the games get more difficult, you're going to need Luka to have Luka type of performances. But they're still winning, even though the game hasn't been perfect, even though I think there's still a lot of upside for Luka. And that to me is good news right now for the Lakers. All right, let me look at a couple of the comments here, and then we'll keep this thing going. All right, let's see what we got here. Luka can about average a triple-double. Yeah, that's kind of Luka. But here's what you want to see from Luka. Because Luka can give you a triple-double, but you don't want to see 15, 17, 19 points from Luka. And it took him 20 shots to get to 19 points. That's not an efficient game. I've told you guys this story before, and I'll tell you guys again. When I used to do the pregame show on 710, every pregame show I would do with Michael Thompson. Right? So Michael and I would do the pregame show. And every time I would mention, we do scores around the NBA, and I'd be like, Michael, Anthony Edwards had 45 tonight. First question from Michael would be, how many shots did he take? The reason why Michael would ask that question is a lot of players can drop 35. Was it an efficient 35? Or did it take you 27 shots to get to 35? Luka, as I look at some of his stats, I'll go back here because I closed that page here. As I look at some of Luka's stats here, it's not a good game offensively to take. Let's see this here. I want the full stats here. Luka last night had 21 points. He took 20 shots. That's not an efficient game. The game against Dallas, he took 17 shots. He had 19 points. Luka's, you're right, he's basically almost a walking triple-double every single night. But what about when Luka starts becoming efficient? Okay, that's next level for the Lakers. And they're going to need that from him. Obviously, that's going to come. I don't think people are too worried that, I was reading a lot of the quotes yesterday. A lot of the quotes yesterday is LeBron's like kind of laughed like, yeah, I'm not worried about it. JJ, yeah, we'll be okay. So we'll go from there. Let's see what we got here. Slee, come on now. Can we break down what the logic and schemes have been? Because then people will understand Luka has not been that bad. The shots are intentional, directive. Listen, I think I'm just pointing out that Luka's going to be a lot better. Let's put it that way. These are Luka's quotes, not mine. I mean, I think we're both watching the same thing here. I think Luka's taken too many threes, too. I think forcing some of those shots. But anyways, he's doing a lot of other things, so I'm not too concerned about it, but I wanted to point that out. Here's a quote. Somebody dropping bars here. The key is not to prioritize your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. I like that. I like that a lot there. Okay, something else went down yesterday. And unfortunately, we're going to have to wait to see. We're going to have to wait and see kind of what happens from here. But we saw yesterday that Rui obviously got injured. Okay, so I don't know how long, obviously Rui's going to be out for. Nobody knows yet. Maybe this is it's no big deal at all. But obviously the news yesterday, Rui suffered a left knee strain during the game yesterday. It was a play where Austin Reeves kind of tipped the ball to him. Looked like maybe he hurt his back, but it was a left knee strain is what they said. And we didn't hear anything yesterday. JJ Redick just basically said, we'll see. Next 24 hours, we'll find out. He said I'll be hopeful, but he's also not going to, make any guesses or anything along those lines. I'll just say this real quick about Rui. They need Rui. And I know that sounds interesting for me to say, but they need Rui. Guys, since I want to go back to really the last 30 days or so, Rui's been really good for the Lakers. Remember that game they had? This was against the Washington Wizards. If you guys remember, they played the Wizards. And it was back, it's about a month ago. It was January 30th. Lakers won that game. They blew out, Washington. And he was 9-12 from the field. He had 22 points. And I'm like, oh, very nice. Follow that up, 21 against the Knicks. Follow that up, 20-6 against the Clippers. That was another blowout win Lakers had. Another blowout win Lakers had against the Clippers. Had a 24-point performance against the Pacers. Everybody was talking about what Austin Reeves did. He had the 45. Rui had 24 and 9 that game. Had a 21 and 6 against Utah. Had a 19-point game. A 17 and 8 against Charlotte. A 21 and 4 assists against Denver. 15 against Dallas with 6 rebounds. Rui's been great. Over the stretch of this last month, Rui Hachimura has been just excellent. Really, really good for the Lakers. They'll miss him if he's out for some time. I mean, they need him for the short term. They obviously need him for the long term. They need his size. They need his offense. They need his rebounding. Rui Hachimura is, I mean, I don't really, it's kind of crazy to think this, right? Because I've had my own conversations about Rui here for a while, and he's become a really kind of integral part of this team right now. So, like, I see somebody in here saying he just doesn't rebound well. No, you're right about that, but he's been a piece. And even if you say, okay, you know what, no problem, throw Dorian Finney-Smith in. Okay, I get that. Perfect. Throw Dorian Finney-Smith in the starting lineup. No problem. The problem is Rui has been so much more consistent offensively than Dorian Finney-Smith, and it just takes away depth that the Lakers have. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.